What if I told you that one of the most influential books ever written started as a simple bedtime story? Today we're diving deep into The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and by the end of this video you'll understand why this seemingly simple tale about a reluctant adventurer changed literature forever and continues to captivate millions of readers nearly a century later. The Hobbit emerged from the most unexpected circumstances. J.R.R. Tolkien, a Oxford professor of linguistics, was grading student papers when he scribbled on a blank page the now famous words, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit." This spontaneous moment in the 1930s would eventually birth one of the most beloved fantasy novels in literary history. Published in 1937, The Hobbit served as Tolkien's first major foray into the elaborate world of Middle-earth, a realm he had been privately constructing through languages, maps and mythologies for decades. What began as stories told to his children transformed into a revolutionary work that essentially created the modern fantasy genre as we know it. The novel follows Bilbo Baggins, a comfort-loving hobbit who gets swept into an epic quest to reclaim a mountain kingdom from a fearsome dragon. But beneath this adventure story lies something far more profound. Tolkien weaves themes of personal growth, courage, friendship, and the corrupting nature of power into a narrative that speaks to readers of all ages. The book's impact extends far beyond literature. It spawned an entire mythology that includes the Lord of the Rings trilogy, influenced countless authors from Ursula K. Le Guin to George R.R. Martin, and created a template for fantasy storytelling that dominates popular culture today. The Hobbit proves that the most powerful stories often emerge from the simplest beginnings, transforming both their creators and audiences in ways never imagined. The story begins in Bag End, the comfortable hobbit hole home of Bilbo Baggins, a creature who values predictability, meals and peaceful pipe smoking above all else. His orderly world shatters when Gandalf the Grey, a mysterious wizard, arrives with 13 dwarves led by Thorin Oakenshield. They seek a 14th member for their quest to reclaim Erebor, the Lonely Mountain, and its vast treasure from Smaug the Dragon. Despite his terror and reluctance, Bilbo finds himself swept into this adventure, leaving behind everything familiar. The company faces numerous perils: hostile trolls who nearly cook them for dinner, treacherous goblins in the Misty Mountains, and giant spiders in the dark forest of Mirkwood. Each challenge forces Bilbo to discover reserves of courage and cleverness he never knew he possessed. The turning point comes when Bilbo becomes separated from his companions in goblin tunnels and encounters Gollum, a wretched creature who challenges him to a riddle contest. Victory means freedom. Defeat means death. Bilbo wins through wit and luck, escaping with a mysterious golden ring that grants invisibility. This seemingly minor acquisition will prove monumentally significant in Tolkien's later works. As the journey progresses, Bilbo transforms from liability to leader. He rescues the dwarves from giant spiders using his sword and ring, and then liberates them from the Elven King's dungeons through ingenious planning. His greatest test comes at the Lonely Mountain, where he must face Smaug alone, engaging the dragon in a battle of wits that reveals the creature's only weakness. The climax erupts in the Battle of Five Armies, where dwarves, elves, men, goblins, and eagles clash over the mountain's treasure. Bilbo's actions during this conflict demonstrate his complete transformation from timid hobbit to true hero, though he pays a personal price for his growth. The first pivotal event occurs when Gandalf manipulates Bilbo into joining the quest through a combination of social pressure and awakened curiosity. The wizard marks Bilbo's door, leading to the infamous arrival of 13 dwarves who eat his pantry bare while planning their dangerous mission. This moment establishes the central tension between comfort and adventure that drives the entire narrative. Bilbo's decision to leave Bag End represents his first step toward personal transformation, though he doesn't yet understand the magnitude of change awaiting him. The encounter with the three trolls provides the company's first major test and reveals important character dynamics. When the trolls capture the dwarves, Bilbo must rescue them, though he initially fails miserably. Gandalf's intervention saves the day, but the experience teaches Bilbo that survival depends on quick thinking and courage rather than comfortable routines. The discovery of ancient swords in the Troll's Hoard, including Bilbo's blade Sting, provides crucial tools for future challenges while establishing the theme of finding strength in unexpected places. The riddle contest with Gollum represents the story's most psychologically complex episode. Lost in goblin tunnels, Bilbo stumbles upon this pitiful creature who challenges him to a game where losing means death. Through cleverness and an accidental question about what's in his pocket, Bilbo wins and escapes with the ring. This scene demonstrates how intelligence can triumph over brute force, while the ring's acquisition introduces an element that will dominate Tolkien's later works. The moral ambiguity of how Bilbo obtains the ring adds depth to his character development. The rescue from giant spiders in Mirkwood marks Bilbo's emergence as a true leader. When the company becomes separated and the dwarves are captured, Bilbo must overcome his fears to save them single-handedly. Using his ring for invisibility and sting to battle the creatures, he displays strategic thinking and combat skills that surprise everyone, including himself. This victory establishes his reputation among the dwarves and proves that heroism often emerges from necessity rather than natural inclination. The barrel escape from the Elven King's halls showcases Bilbo's growing tactical brilliance. After the company's capture, he devises an elaborate plan involving empty wine barrels to smuggle the dwarves out of the stronghold. This episode demonstrates how creativity and observation can overcome seemingly impossible obstacles. The success of this plan solidifies Bilbo's role as the group's problem solver and strategist, transforming him from burden to indispensable team member. The confrontation with Smaug represents the quest's climactic challenge and Bilbo's ultimate test of courage. Facing the dragon alone in the treasure chamber, he must rely on wit rather than weapons to survive. Through clever conversation and riddles, he discovers the dragon's weakness while avoiding incineration. This encounter shows how intelligence and psychological insight can triumph over overwhelming physical power, reinforcing the story's theme that true strength comes from within. The Battle of Five Armies brings together all the story's conflicts in a massive confrontation that tests every character's values and loyalties. When armies of men, elves, dwarves, goblins and eagles clash over the mountain's treasure, Bilbo faces moral choices that define his character. His decision to give the Arkenstone to Bard and the Elven King to prevent war demonstrates how his journey has transformed him from a creature focused on comfort to someone willing to sacrifice for justice and peace. The return to Bag End completes Bilbo's transformation while exploring the costs of adventure. Though he returns home wealthy and respected, he finds himself forever changed and somewhat alienated from his former life. His neighbours view him with suspicion, and he can never fully return to his previous existence. This bittersweet ending suggests that true growth requires leaving behind aspects of our former selves, even those we cherish. The story concludes with Bilbo writing his adventures, transforming experience into wisdom that can benefit others. Personal growth requires stepping outside your comfort zone, even when it feels terrifying. Bilbo's transformation from anxious homebody to confident adventurer demonstrates that we often possess capabilities we never knew existed. His journey shows that comfort, while pleasant, can become a prison that prevents us from discovering our true potential. The story suggests that accepting challenges, despite our fears, leads to self-discovery and personal development that enriches our lives in ways we cannot anticipate. Intelligence and creativity often triumph over brute force and overwhelming odds. Throughout his adventures, Bilbo succeeds not through physical strength, but through clever thinking and creative problem-solving. His victories against trolls, goblins, spiders, and dragons all rely on wit rather than weapons. This teaches us that mental agility and innovative thinking can overcome seemingly impossible obstacles when applied with courage and determination. True leadership emerges from service to others rather than pursuit of personal glory. Bilbo becomes a leader not by seeking authority, but by consistently helping his companions overcome challenges. His transformation from liability to indispensable team member shows that authentic leadership develops through demonstrated competence and genuine care for others' welfare. The story suggests that the best leaders are often those who never intended to lead, but stepped forward when circumstances demanded it. Moral courage sometimes requires making difficult choices that others might not understand. Bilbo's decision to give away the Arkenstone to prevent war demonstrates how ethical behaviour sometimes conflicts with loyalty to friends or immediate self-interest. His willingness to risk Thorin's anger for the greater good shows that true integrity means doing what's right even when it's personally costly or unpopular. Small actions can have enormous consequences, often in ways we cannot foresee. Bilbo's seemingly minor decision to spare Gollum's life has implications that extend far beyond the immediate story. The ring he obtains becomes central to future events, while his act of mercy plants seeds that will bear fruit in unexpected ways. This teaches us that our daily choices, however insignificant they appear, can ripple through time with profound effects. Friendship and loyalty are tested more severely during difficult times. The bonds between Bilbo and the dwarves strengthen through shared hardship, while conflicts over treasure threaten to destroy relationships. The story shows that true friendship requires forgiveness, understanding, and willingness to sacrifice for others' benefit. It suggests that relationships tested by adversity either become stronger or reveal their fundamental weaknesses. Greed and materialism can corrupt even the noblest intentions. The treasure's effect on Thorin and others demonstrates how pursuit of wealth can transform honourable people into destructive forces. The story warns that material possessions, while useful, should never become more important than relationships and moral principles. It suggests that true wealth lies in experiences, relationships, and personal growth rather than accumulated objects. Wisdom often comes from unexpected sources and experiences. Bilbo's encounters with various creatures and cultures broaden his understanding of the world beyond his initial narrow perspective. The story shows that prejudices and preconceptions often blind us to truth and beauty in unfamiliar forms. It encourages openness to learning from every experience and person we encounter, regardless of their apparent differences from ourselves. The journey matters more than the destination. While the quest officially aims to reclaim the mountain's treasure, the real prize is the transformation each character undergoes. Bilbo returns home wealthy, but his greatest gains are confidence, wisdom, and expanded understanding of himself and the world. The story suggests that life's most valuable rewards come from the challenges we face and overcome, rather than external achievements. Every ending becomes a new beginning, and growth continues throughout life. Bilbo's return to Bag End doesn't mark the end of his development, but the beginning of a new chapter informed by his experiences. The story shows that personal transformation is an ongoing process rather than a destination, encouraging readers to view each life phase as an opportunity for continued learning and development. The Hobbit endures as a masterpiece because it addresses fundamental human experiences through the lens of fantasy adventure. Tolkien's genius lies in creating a story that works on multiple levels, entertaining children with exciting adventures, while offering adults profound insights into courage, friendship, and personal growth. The novel's influence on modern fantasy literature cannot be overstated, establishing tropes and themes that continue to resonate with contemporary audiences. What makes this book truly special is its demonstration that heroism isn't reserved for warriors or nobles, but can emerge from the most unlikely sources. Bilbo's transformation from comfortable hobbit to courageous adventurer proves that ordinary people possess extraordinary potential when circumstances demand it. This message remains as relevant today as it was in 1937, inspiring readers to embrace challenges and discover their hidden strengths. The story's exploration of moral complexity adds depth that distinguishes it from simple adventure tales. Bilbo's difficult choices and their consequences show that ethical behaviour often requires personal sacrifice, and that doing the right thing doesn't always lead to immediate happiness. These lessons prepare readers for real-world situations where moral clarity is rare, and good intentions can have unintended consequences. Ultimately, The Hobbit succeeds because it captures the essential human experience of growth through adversity. We all face moments when we must choose between comfort and challenge, safety and growth. Bilbo's journey reminds us that while change is frightening, it's also necessary for discovering who we truly are and what we're capable of achieving. In our own lives, we each have opportunities to embark on adventures that will transform us in ways we never imagined possible.